I don't want to be out of control of my life. What comes to mind when you think of the perfect life? Do you think about materialistic things? Do you think about families, friends? Whatever it is, we all have our idea of what we believe to be the perfect life. We developed this and molded this idea of perfection from usually our childhood is where it started. It rooted from, where we grew up, how we grew up, and the people that surrounded us as we grew up. We took things from how our parents are and their relationship and their taking care of the household. We took things from other family members and how they live. We took things from our friends and the accomplishments that they've made and how they live their life. And we molded and picked and chose what we envisioned to be a perfect life. Whatever concept, whatever story that you developed and feel is your perfect life, or what would be your perfect life, is just a concept and a story. And it usually roots in external factors. Our perfect life is usually something along the lines of a bigger house, faster car, designer clothes, finding a husband or wife, having a family. It's always an external thing, having the greatest job with the biggest salary, maybe being part of the pension system, having a 401k or a IRA, Roth IRA, whatever it is. That's how we set up and developed this idea of a perfect life. Once we feel that we can accomplish all of these things, or we start to accomplish all of these things, then you will have the perfect life. But what we tend to ignore is everything that's going on internally. When you talk to other people and you ask them what their ideal perfect life would be, it's usually rooted in their surroundings. Maybe the place that they want to live, or maybe they do want to travel and get some experience in that way. That's usually something that people love to do, is view the world, learn about cultures, and that is a plus. But that's also an external factor. They learn a lot about themselves, they learn a lot about life and other people, about history, everything externally. Usually you hear about them wanting to settle, finding somebody to get married so that they can start a family, living in this state around with their parents or other loved ones, having this job and making this amount of money so that they can feel secure. Security is usually the one key factor when it comes to the perfect life. I don't want to be out of control of my life. So if I wanted a perfect life, I would have to be in control. Everything would have to be secure. I would have to have a job that I knew I could work at for X amount of years and retire from. I would have to have a house that I knew I could pay off in so many years with the job security that I already have, because I make this amount of money and maybe I'll get some raises every year, and then I can pay off this house. So I have to have a house. I want a secure husband or wife that makes me feel like I know that they are there for me and I'm there for them. And then I want my kids to grow up with a great and happy life, with usually, hopefully not always, things such as toys and other additional material things. Usually just happiness is what we want for children. But ourselves, we usually want external perfection. My perfect life equals a sense of security, and that sense of security comes from having a car that always works and I can get to work so that I don't get fired from my job that I know I will be able to work at for over 20 years and I can retire from with a great sum of money to retire from and be secure in my retirement. And then I need security from my partner because I want us to be married forever. It is us against the world. Perfect life equals security for a lot of people, for a majority of people. No, everyone's so scared of the unknown. I myself am terrified of the unknown. I don't know what tomorrow brings, and I'm not that terrified. I have a great assumption of what tomorrow brings, but we usually are scared of the unknown. And having that sense of security, that sense of control, makes for perfection. So when you think of the perfect life, you often think of security and external factors. Not a lot of people think of security within themselves. Security within themselves emotionally, physically. You want to make it to retirement, don't you? If you're going to be secure in your job and you want to retire from it in 20 years, you want to at least be healthy those 20 years so that when you retire, you're not on your deathbed. You made all that extra money and had security in your retirement, but you're dying because you never took into account your health. You're emotionally drained, damaged, ripped up. But not a lot of people take into account all of that when they think of the perfect life. They may say that they want happiness, but they believe that happiness can be achieved in the external security. I want happiness. My perfect life is happiness because I'm going to have a husband or wife, a great house, a great car, a great job. And that will bring me happiness. So then I'll be emotionally secured. Once all of these things happen and I have that perfect life, that's going to be it. That's how I'm going to be perfect. But you're getting the order wrong. You should try to strive for the happiness, or I like to call it more of a peace or a joy within, because happiness is an emotion that's more or less with the opposite of sadness. It's a polar emotion. So it can have its opposite, sadness. And if you won't always be happy, regardless of the things that you have and the people you surround yourself with, you're going to feel sad. And that's going to be fine. But if you have a sense of peace with your sadness, then you won't be so attached to the sadness and you'll just see it as sadness, just as you see happiness. So having that sense of peace first, or that sense of joy and alignment within yourself, that center, then everything else, once everything else falls into place, or having that as you achieve or get everything else, such as a career, a house, a partner, starting a family. If you work on that as you work on everything else, then it kind of falls into perfect place. You'll never have a perfect life. A perfect life is not something that I wouldn't say achievable, but everybody has their different idea of what a perfect life is. So everybody's going to give you different opinions on having a perfect life. You're going to be influenced constantly by your parents, your family members, your friends, co-workers. Everyone's going to have their different opinions on how you should live your life. So your idea of a perfect life is going to change constantly throughout your life. So you're not going to sit there and be able to achieve one thing, and say that's it, that's a perfect life. It's going to keep changing as long as you have the idea of a perfect life. If you just sit here and you say to yourself, you know what, this to me is a perfect life, being here, talking to you in this video, that to me is a perfect life. Communicating and sharing my experience and sharing the things that I learned throughout these past years on my spiritual journey, that to me is perfect. Because I have a sense of peace anytime that I share. So that is a perfect life to me. But it's not a perfect life to other people. Everyone has their different story. As long as they have a sense of peace within and everything else falls into place for them, then they should have a perfect life. Even when they reach their lows, even when they're super high, whichever way they are, that's perfect for them. So everyone has their idea of perfection, as you probably have your idea of perfection, as I have mine. And even though throughout this journey you start to learn to get rid of and drop all ideas, it doesn't mean you can't strive to get to somewhere or strive to accomplish things. You can still have goals, you can still have dreams. It's the attachment to the end result that drops. So it's not about holding on to the story of perfection and running your life, running every day, trying to get to that perfect life. The result won't be happiness and joy. But you'll learn that your idea of a perfect life is flowing naturally as you find your internal peace, as you achieve your external goals. Everything just falls into place. You just get rid of the attachment to the end result of total happiness and perfection, because your idea is not the same as anybody else's. Literally anybody, even your parents' expectations, your sister's expectations, your brother, your friend, your best friend's expectations, all of them, their idea is nowhere near your idea. It may be similar in a way, but it's not the same. In any way possible, it's really not the same idea. Because the way that you envision things, your perspective, is always different than anybody else's perspective. So stick by what you want externally, but always focus internally, so that when it comes externally, it's not short-lived. You can enjoy it and really take it in because you've already healed internally. So get that perfect life, however you see yourself achieving that perfect life. I say the perfect life is really just achievement of goals, of dreams. Follow through. Don't worry about anybody else and what they expect of you and what they say that you should be doing, what's more practical and makes more sense for you to do, because you will hear that constantly, especially when you follow a dream that isn't practical, that isn't going to make you the money that you expect it to make. Just do what you feel is right, naturally right, internally right. Even if you mess up, you're going to fall down and get back up 100 times. Even if you feel weak, you feel like you can't achieve it, just go out there and take baby steps. Try it. Do whatever it is that you want to do to achieve what you see to be a perfect life. Don't attach yourself to the story of the perfect life. Just go out there and have fun with it. Have fun with trying to be in the perfect life.